Samsung raises the bar by offering 3 generations of Android OS upgrades. That is great news if you are looking for a previous Galaxy version like the Tab S6. And on our previous videos, we've had lots of questions for you on the Tab S6 versus the Tab S7 and what better time to put them head to head to find out which device is better for you. Is it the Tab S6 or the Tab S7?
I got something you can't explain, la 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 la, in the metaphysical kind of way.
At the time of making this video, the Tab S6 was actually cheaper than the Tab S7, and many viewers also commented on our previous video saying that it is similar in their country, the UK for example. And here's the thing, when we compare pricing, we really don't look at the configuration itself of the tablets or devices first. We do that afterwards or during that, because we really want to see what it is you get for your money. And currently it is pretty much the same, so you can buy the Tab S7 or the Tab S6 for the same amount of money, but you have quite different configurations here. You can see that you have the newest processor in for the Tab S7, 6GB of RAM, whereby you have an older processor in the Tab S6 and an 8GB of RAM, but also different storage configurations. One more differentiation is that the Tab S6 comes with Android 10 and One UI 2.1, not the One UI 2.5 you can find in all the new devices like the Tab S7. When I handled the Tab S7 and the Tab S6, something felt different and something felt similar. I know it sounds weird, but the Tab S7 was bulkier. It felt more like the Tab S6 Lite, and the Tab S6 felt more like the Tab S7 Plus because it felt really sleek and thin. So the first thing I did, I put it on a scale. So the Tab S7 came in with 501 grams. The Tab S6 came in with 421 grams, and there's an 80 grams difference here, and doesn't sound that much on paper, but it felt different in my hands. The Tab S6 felt more sleek, something you can slip into your bag easier. I know it sounds weird, but that's what it felt like. But something was still bothering me, so I put the Tab S6 and the Tab S7 side by side to see what the thickness is of both devices, and we can see the Tab S6 is slightly thinner than the Tab S7. So I revisited our previous video where we compared the Tab S7 Plus and the Tab S7, and you can see that the Tab S7 Plus has exactly the same thickness than the Tab S6. When looking down from this perspective, you can't really tell a major difference between both devices. However, when using both devices, I could tell that the Tab S7 screen was slightly bigger, although on paper it isn't that much, especially when I was typing and working on it. Another quirky thing here is that both pens really go in different directions. I don't know why, but I just felt like I needed to tell you guys. Both devices share the same ports, or maybe non-ports. Both devices don't have a headphone jack, but have an expandable SD card slot up to 1TB. The difference here is with the fingerprint sensor. The Tab S6 has a built-in display fingerprint sensor, whereby the Tab S7 fingerprint sensor is on the side where the power button is. And then there's the quad speakers by AKG, and we do a speaker test later on. There is a difference, so stay tuned. USB-C charging both support fast charging, but you will have to have an additional investment in order to get the charging brick, because the charging brick that will be delivered in the box is 15 watt only for both devices. External keyboards are available for both devices from Samsung, and you will probably pay around $180 for each one depending where you are in the world. But the Tab S6 has that adhesive stuff on the back of that keyboard cover, which I don't like, not a big fan of that. However, the new keyboard cover for the Tab S7 is magnetic, and I'm a much bigger fan of that. To conclude this section, here are the official measurements for the Tab S7 and the Tab S6. So we have an LCD screen for the Tab S7 versus the Super AMOLED screen of the Tab S6. I've listed all the details for both screen technologies here below. What we do know, however, is that Samsung is basically the screen maker and does these amazing screens worldwide. I don't understand why they put different technologies in these tablets all the time, but we'll see if that really makes that much of a difference. Before we go into showing you 8K footage for the Tab S7 and the Tab S6, one of our viewers suggested to do this particular test. It is a display motion test. It is called Test UFO. And why not? What I did notice, however, is that the Tab S7 never really exceeded the 60 Hz displayed here, and I thought maybe I'm doing something wrong, so I changed browsers. That didn't work, same results. But then I thought maybe I'm doing something different. Now I'm getting the Tab S7 Plus in to see maybe there's something wrong with me doing that. But no, the Tab S7 Plus displayed the 120 Hz. It is available on that, but not on the Tab S7. And then you can see the Tab S6 really struggled with any frame rates here. Okay, 8K footage, here we go. And I'm trying to give you some different perspectives for both screen technologies, different angles, but I found a way that will really show you what the difference is later on. And now we move on to 4K footage. I wanted to have some more colorful footage. The footage is pretty much the same we used for the Tab S7 Plus versus the Tab S7, and we've done that on purpose in case you guys want to go back and revisit that video and maybe compare all three tablets with each other. And our top-down perspective probably doesn't give you the real picture of what it looks like, so we're going to come up with some different angles here. When you look at both screens front on, you can tell that there is not much of a difference. It looks actually really good. Brightness is pretty much very similar. So look, it is really difficult sometimes to show you the difference between the LCD screen and the OLED screen on camera. I'm doing my best to show you different angles. The best way to describe it is when you look really down on both tablets, you don't see that much of a difference. As soon as you move into an angle, you move backwards or you move sideways, you can see a difference immediately. The OLED screen stays as is, whatever angle you look at, and the LCD screen gets kind of fuzzier. This is really something though, isn't it? When you see it in a different way, then you have a completely different picture of what it really looks like, and this is what you have to remember. If you are a screen junkie like me, then you won't like that fuzziness or the milky look of the tablet, of the Tab S7 you have just seen. But let's go to the scrolling test. We did a scrolling test, both tablets side by side, slow motion, and you can see that the Tab S6 is kind of jerky still. It goes wobbly, probably better wording here, wobbly. And the Tab S7 is still not that great, so it's also a bit of stuttering here, and both run great at scrolling in slow motion.
There are differences between the two S Pens, and what we're looking for is the most realistic pen-like experience. The Tab S6 was never my favorite pen, but it does fit flat on the back of your Tab S6. However, the nib is difficult to see while writing, and it is a flat pen, so it does not really give you the feeling that you are writing with a normal pen. The Tab S7, on the other hand, is an improved design, and it is much more comfortable to write with. It is much more like sitting with a pen in your hand and actually writing.
And here I just wanted to demonstrate how you basically write on both tablets, but I'm going to freeze frame right now. Can you see the gap on the Tab S6 between the pen and the line? There is a huge difference in latency. I would almost say basically cut down by half or double the latency for the Tab S6 compared to the Tab S7. When it comes to the camera specifications, we should not really see a difference. Well, let's find out.
This is the picture and sound quality of the Tab S7 and the picture and sound quality of the Tab S6. Camera and microphone test for the Tab S7. Rear camera and microphone test for the Tab S6.
The new placement for the camera of the Tab S7 is so much better, there's no doubt. However, I felt that the microphone on the Tab S6 is slightly better. It sounds fuller when you speak. Quad speakers by AKG, there shouldn't be any differences.
So impressed like it's prom night. And when you live in top shelf, you know you gotta set the bar high. Had the same dreams since we was kids. Big trips, big cars, and even bigger cribs. Never thought that it would happen just the way it did. Fast forward that now, it's just the way we live. Let's go food and drinks, and what makes you think that this life's made for a king?
I don't know why all these tablets have different outcomes, but we had the same with the Tab S7 Plus, and I feel here that the Tab S6 has better microphones and certainly better speakers. They sound fuller and richer. As for the Geekbench 5 results, the Tab S7 scores higher in every single instance, and that is due to the new built-in Snapdragon 865 Plus chipset. The Tab S6, however, has still the Snapdragon 855 installed. And whilst the difference in single-core and multi-core score may not be that dramatically different, the OpenCL and Vulkan score will make a difference when it comes to the graphics performance, and you could see that in our motion blur test earlier. The Tab S6 was simply struggling to keep up with that test, whereby the Tab S7 was slightly better already. Something I noticed when we are doing all these benchmark tests is that the Tab S7 performs these tests really fast, and you can see this here on the Base Mark III test. The Tab S7 already finished, whereby the Tab S6 is still doing it. Although the scores are lower at the end, which is bizarre, but the test itself has been performed faster. It was the same for Geekbench and other tests. So the Tab S6 performs better, for example here with the web application, but needs longer in order to do the entire test. One area I would like to address, and that is the RAM availability. You can see here before and after cleaning, and I had a couple of applications open and did all these benchmark tests, and you can see after cleaning it is only 2.8 GB and 3.8 GB for the Tab S6 and Tab S7 respectively. But what I want to say here is that when you have the option to get an 8 GB of RAM Tab S7, please do so, because that will really enhance your experience. As you guys know, one of our standard tests is opening up Microsoft Office application, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and working on it. We had no issues with both tablets. The Tab S6 performed just as well as the Tab S7 here. Just one word of caution when it comes to DeX. The Tab S7 has wireless DeX available, the Tab S6 does not at the time of filming. Our battery test really surprised me. When you look at the Tab S7 here, 8 hours and 10 for Netflix full brightness, very similar to our result when we compared this device with the Tab S7 Plus. The Tab S6, however, you can see over 13 hours full brightness, amazing. And in addition to that, the Tab S6 really has a lower battery capacity than the Tab S7. So I don't know what's going on, but the Tab S6 really knocked it out of the park here. This is really one of the toughest conclusions I had to do, because there are so many things that are going for the Tab S6, and not just price-wise, also the feel, the screen, the power, and all of that. But then there's also a lot of things going for the Tab S7. I don't like the bulkiness and so on. So it is really a subjective choice here. And if I'm really honest, I'm going to be painfully honest here. If I had a choice, I would choose the Tab S7 Plus above all. But we're talking about the Tab S6 and the Tab S7 here, so I probably would do a 50-50 choice depending on your needs. I know it's not what you want to hear, but if you are an entertainment person or you have light work, you're on the go, you go for the Tab S6, no doubt about it. You will enjoy that. Better speakers, better microphone, better screen, and so on. If you are kind of a digital artist, maybe you like that LCD screen, you have that feel, that bulkiness, you like that, and you have a new processor that is also faster in places, better graphics integrated, probably more for a home office, especially with that camera placement, then you go for the Tab S7. So I know this is not a conclusive conclusion, but this is the best I can do, because I really struggle to choose between them two, because honestly, I love the Tab S7 Plus. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments below which one you would go for. Any questions, let us know. Also, Jens here and Tony, of course, from All Star Space. See you next time. Peace out.
Can you feel it?